You see those costumes over there? Let me spoil the movie they came from. The movie is Silent Hill, a 2006 movie. Silent Hill opens up with a couple whose daughter tries to unalive herself. She's called Sharon, but is saved by her mom when she tries to throw herself off a waterfall. And then the distinct word she keeps on repeating is Silent Hill, Silent Hill. It seems like that is not Sharon's first time of saying that particular word. She's been sleepwalking recently and she keeps on repeating the word Silent Hill, and it has got her parents very worried. Rose decides to take her daughter to Silent Hill just to solve the problem or find out the solution to the sleepwalking that Sharon has been going. Rose's husband is clearly not happy with this decision, especially when his research on that particular town gives him very gruesome images of the town. Apparently, the town has become a ghost town. Nobody lives there, and they said coal has been burning under the town for years now. So he's actually not happy. Rose is trying to take Sharon there. To him, Sharon should rather be sent to a mental institution. On their way to Silent Hill, Rose stops by a gas station to refill her car with gas, and then she discovers some gruesome drawings of Sharon. And Sharon can't remember ever drawing those type of pictures. Sharon becomes hysterical. Rose tries calming her down, and in doing so, they capture the attention of a female police officer who thinks Rose is actually trying to kidnap Sharon. Her suspicion leads her to trail Rose's car, and at a point where she stops Rose's car, Rose is about stopping, changes her mind, and speeds off. So the police officer makes a chase, and then all of a sudden, a woman appears from nowhere. Rose is trying to avoid hitting the woman. It sounds like a car crash, and then it's daybreak. Rose wakes up in a particular place, which is white in nature. It looks like snow and daytime, but she cannot find Sharon in the car. Rose realizes that she has actually gotten to Silent Hill, and upon further inspection, realizes that that particular surface that looked like snow is actually ash that has covered the surface and is whitish look. Her search for Sharon takes her through a small tunnel, and upon seeing a small girl who looks like Sharon, she follows the lady, and the girl leads her to that particular tunnel. She's about entering the tunnel, and then we hear a blaring alarm. It's so loud, it takes all over the place, and then all of a sudden there's darkness. She uses a lighter to try and see where it is she's going. And mind you, the town is actually abandoned. She didn't see anybody in the town. She couldn't ask anybody for directions. Tunnel leads her to fences containing decapitated people. And she sees some scary creatures which are after her. They are almost getting her, and all of a sudden, the daytime comes or the place become bright, and then they fade away. And then she's confused. What the hell is going on around this place? Leaves the tunnel, goes to the edge of another part of the bridge, and find out that that bridge is has collapsed. She now sees this particular woman. She's asking the woman questions, and initially the woman is receptive. She's talking to her. All of a sudden, she shows a picture of her daughter because she wants to locate Sharon. And then the woman acts like a mad woman, and she keeps on saying, "My daughter, it's mine." So Rose pushes her off and makes a run. She goes back to where her car was left, and then the police officer apprehends her, thinking she has done something bad to Sharon, especially when Rose keeps on telling her she can't find Sharon. So handcuffs to Rose, tries to take Rose back, and then a creature comes near them. Initially, it looks distorted like a human being. She's avoiding shooting it until the thing sprays acid on her. Then the police officer had to shoot it. While she's distracted, Rose makes a run for it, and she runs to the school because the drawing of Sharon leads her or gives her the impression that she has to go to the school, and that is where she'll find Sharon. All this time, Rose's husband is trying to find Rose and Sharon. He tries collecting her, sorry, but the line doesn't go through. And then he actually reaches the bridge that leads to Silent Hill. It was initially blocked, but the police have surrounded there because they too, their deputy is missing. And you realize that the town or the Silent Hill town that the police are seeing or Rose's husband is seeing is quite different from the place Rose and the police officer is. Now in the school, Rose finds this group of men dressed in a weird manner. She gets scared and runs into the school's washroom, and that is where she finds a man who has been gruesomely murdered and tied with wires. The men are trying to break into the washroom, and Rose locks the door. And then all of a sudden, we hear the alarm again, and then the place becomes dark. The scenery of the washroom changes, and then the man that has been brutally murdered comes to life and is crawling towards her. She screams, she opens the washroom, runs, and then she sees different decapitated bodies like before again. And then those men that were after her were being unalived by some tiny creatures. And then she keeps on running. Like, they introduced the man with the pyramid covering his head, and Rose is on the verge of giving up. That saves her, carries her into a particular room, and locks the door. These small creatures are struggling to get in, and then all of a sudden daybreak comes again and everything disappears. So now whose Rose have been picking leads her to the Grand Hotel, and there they find Hannah, who is stoning the mad woman from earlier, who we find out that her name is actually Dahlia. So Hannah makes them know that there's actually other people living there, and then they are all taking refuge in the church. It's only in the church that the darkness cannot reach you there. But before they leave, Rose convinced them to go to a particular room in the hotel. There they will find her daughter, according to the clues she's getting. The police is warning Rose's husband to stay off the case, go home. They will find Rose for him. But he breaks into the police archives and goes through the Silent Hill cases. And that is where he finds this particular picture. And this girl looks exactly like Sharon, but she's actually not Sharon. Hannah warns the Rose and the police officer that they have to leave because it's almost time. So they are running, they get to the church, and that is the first time Rose has actually seen where the alarm is from. The alarm is actually blaring from the church, and other people are sprinting to the church. The alarm is, and then they are urging Rose to get in. But for some reason, Rose is standing there confused. She's talking to Dahlia, the insane woman. And then Hannah keeps on saying, even the darkness is rejecting Dahlia, so they should let Dahlia go and go inside. She wastes time so much that when they're about to get in, Hannah decides to stone Dahlia for the last time, and the darkness was upon them. And all of a sudden, the pyramid head guy grabs Hannah and decapitates her there. Rose and the police officer makes it into the church, but the people are enraged, especially Hannah's mom because she's blaming them for Hannah's death. And then all of a sudden, Christabel, their leader or the leader of the church, is able to calm them down and bring sanity to the crowd. Daybreak comes and Christabel agrees to help them, but tells Rose that her daughter will be with a particular demon. And if she can get to that demon and stay alive, then she might probably find her daughter. Rose agrees and follows Christabel to that particular place. They are about to get into the elevator when Christabel discovers Rose's necklace with Sharon's picture on it. This picture scares Christabel so much she starts calling Rose's daughter a witch, or Rose even herself a witch. And then they are preventing her from getting into the elevator. But the police officer sacrifices herself by distracting her and giving them or giving Rose a chance to get into the elevator and then leave. The moment Rose leaves, they attack the police officer and brutally beat her. Rose reaches a particular floor, and that is when we see the monsters dressed in the nurse's uniform, the one the lady was costuming. So that is where we find it. But she's able to maneuver out of that particular place and finally meets the real monster that has caused all these issues. And she tells Rose, Rose is welcome. She's going to tell Rose the truth and why she has led Rose there. So Elessa, the little girl that looks exactly like Sharon, was actually living in Silent Hill and was brutally assaulted and all the things you can think about in that particular town. Everybody in the town thought she was a witch. Even her mom was playing along. And then they were said they had to sacrifice her before the town would come back to normal. That man earlier from the bathroom I said was tied and brutally unalived. We realized that he's one of her sexual abusers. Now, Christabel was the lead people that was tormenting us, calling her a witch. She manages to convince the whole town to unalive her or unalive Elisa to ward off whatever case she was talking about. So they slowly roasted the girl alive, and before the police came, it was already too late. She was badly bent. Elisa became very hateful for what she has gone through, and her hate forward or changed the whole town. And that the particular town they are living in is actually Elisa's dream. And she's going to take revenge on all the townspeople. That is why they are living that nightmare. She tells Rose that she needs Rose's help to get into the church because she cannot get into the church and finish her dream. Rose agrees and she enters or melts into Rose's body. We now see that Isabel has actually located Sharon, and all that while Dahlia was the one hiding Sharon. They are able to get their hands on Sharon and Christabel, and they take them back to the church and try to unalive Sharon to the same way they did to Ellie. The police officer is still alive and she keeps on shouting that they shouldn't do anything to the small girl. And then so they slowly burn the police officer alive. And then they're about to do the same to Sharon, and Rose barges in. Rose tries to reason with the people and let them know that the situation they are in, they brought it upon themselves. But Christabel is still trying to convince the people that no, the only way they can solve all these issues is just to unalive Sharon. That is the a spawn of the witch. And then in so doing, Christabel ends up stabbing Rose. Unknown to her, she had actually just let the demon out. And then Rose is oozing blood. And this blood, you know that this is not normal blood. After the blood stopped flowing, the blood, or let me say, her wound seals back. She's okay, but you can see that the whole church is falling apart. Now the Rose has successfully led the demon into the church, and Alice is now taking her revenge. She starts analyzing the people, and the first person she starts with is Christabel. So she ends up analyzing everybody in the church except her mom, Sharon, and Rose. So when the daybreak came and Sharon and Rose are about leaving, they meet the mom, and the mom asks why did she leave her? Why didn't she analyze her too? And then Rose makes her know that because at the end of the day, she's still Alice's mom. That is why Alice doesn't want to harm her. So she goes back into her car. They drive off, and you see that the bridge has come back. So they're able to drive through. They drive to her house. They're able to go back home. And one surprising thing is that the place was still looking quite like not normal, like the normal place. She goes there, she goes into the house, and you see that at the same time they show her husband. Her husband too is back home. That is when you realize that she has actually not gotten out of Alice's dream. She's still in Alice's dream. She hasn't come back to the real world. Her husband has a feeling she's back, goes to check, and she's not there. Meanwhile, she thinks she's at home. And then at the end, we see a grim look on Sharon's face, which seemed to suggest that Alice has possessed Sharon. I'm not sure. And then the movie ends.